I'm gonna try to step away from the play-by-play. The problem is there's no narrative to this, you know. It's supposed to be about the preparation for Ragnarok, but I don't even know what these things are, you know? I mean, there's some fight on some world, but what does it mean that a player has committed to that battle and whether they win or not? And what is the actual impact of light or dark winning? Doesn't seem to be anything, right? It's just, hey, did a player get points for this by being on the right side? That doesn't make much sense. Similarly, the weapons. It's a number. You know, where's Mjolnir? Whatever. And it's okay. It's just, why the fuck is this about Ragnarok? Well, the representation kind of fits, but whatever's going on. So I'm going to try to step back. It's going to be hard. But I did want to, and come in for interesting decisions, I guess. And try to talk about, hey, board state and victory points and stuff like that, because that's all that matters. But taking a look at this guy here who's sitting on the #1 space, he's got an interesting position. He's sitting on 2 of these things that get him, if he's first or second in a god, in a battle. Right? If the god wins, that player scores additional victory points to a large point with either of those. So I gotta build temples. That's the thing I haven't been doing. I've been getting into battles. So I've got to start making a focus on getting more temples built. And one problem. With me sitting with these battles and gaining temples, I have to make sure that I don't end up dropping below 2 of these influence jets as well. Close to a similar decision, and I made my choices here. I'll speak to them just because I'm there. I grabbed Loki because I need green to succeed in this big point one. And green is important in these. Balder because he covers 2 of the cases. Thor covers 1 of the potential cases. Thor, I'm looking more to build the temple to, but whatever. You know, I mean, maybe I want Loki temple because it's worth more. And can I do it? Yes, I have the orange peoples or meeples that would be an option. So, you know, we'll see what plays out in terms of when I put the pieces down, but to a large extent, I'm going to get the first play, and I probably want to play the Loki for getting the green pieces rather than for... although I don't have to do that as my first action, but I can't put 2 into Loki. I don't think. Right, because I only have 1 Loki card. That's why. Now, there would be ways to do it. I could do it through this dude. I could slip a piece in, but for this guy, it's a slightly different situation, right? I've got 1 battle won. 1 battle doesn't do me any good. I'd have to boost to 2 to get any value out of it. Maybe I can build things and retrieve this and stop fighting battles. I've already collected a couple of points off battles. Screw it. Give up on them. An interesting question. What the hell are these guys? Son of a bitch. I gotta figure out what the fuck they're doing there. So the first player... again, let's do setup in this weird little picture type thing with all kind of crap in little boxes. Yeah, I know it's common to Euros and now to the Ameritrash stuff that they put out these days. I find it completely impossible. It's like I want a sequential recipe of how to set up the game, not some kind of thing that I'm scrambling back and forth trying to figure out what pieces are. I think these guys just don't belong there. I can't find any argument for them. But what I noticed here is the first player got the first player art title. The second, third, and fourth should have a recruit, either a giant or a warrior. I don't know. I'm going to give these three players who were in that position each a giant. What the fuck? Now, that means that he's kind of at a disadvantage and has too many giants and might lose one, but whatever. That advantage should have been in place before and could have been important in terms of, like, this guy was having a hard time building a temple at one point or something. I don't know. The tangled knot of the game, and this can be appealing, I can understand that. Winning battles gets you these chits. Now, you can also get them off cert. We'll see. Although she's going red, automatically female, right? She's going for getting Odin so that she can pull this thing off. And presumably doing it with Thor. Cert gives the capability to grab some of these tiles. But those tiles aren't the only thing you want to grab. You also need the weapons and the magic chits to use in the battles at the end of the game. So by focusing on battles at the beginning, you get better at battles at the end, but you probably have less commitment to any given gods. You got to make sure you have at least one, you know, so that, like, you can ensure that you get to use your tiles. But yeah, and you're only allowed to use them on gods that you have commitment to, if I recall correctly, which means you can't just use them to try to screw the leader. Same kind of situation here. Someone who has one of these tokens, of course, they took it fairly late, but, you know, do you really want to increase your battles, or do you want to strip it off and be able to build a temple with a token for free? You know. I'm cheating with some players. So red, for example, only got a 2-card draw, so I'm going to discard the one that I saw as less important. Same is true with blue and yellow. So only one player got all 3 pieces. The assortment of different pieces in play. Got this tile. I forgot I had this. I could have just grabbed player 1 at the beginning of the turn, and that would have given me, you know, what, instead of starting the play. That would have given me an edge that now I don't have, because everybody else has gone first. I'm not going to rewind that, but I do have to say, when you have tiles like that, it's probably fine in solo because I have a hard time dealing with cards as well that do things. But if you compare it to, like, a game where you hold a handful of cards, each of which has a few abilities, playing that opposed I find easier than dealing with some tiles that are sitting in my tableau that, especially when they don't have words on them to tell me what they do, they just have some image that looks rather unimportant, you know. Oh, I got a 1. Great, whatever. It'll sink in, but obviously I'm not going to play well if I can't assess those things. And we have 2 players pursuing the battle capabilities, and they're the ones who are already ahead in that realm. And a number of people pursuing, well, only 2. Purple and blue are the only ones who are actually pursuing building a temple this turn. Nobody got grabbed like the mean. These, not having a lot of tokens to play, means that I don't really have the capability to play for these kind of special ancillary, auxiliary, whatever capabilities that I have. Now, that's okay. But what we're seeing is no one went for just scoop these things and put them in your pool and have more actions later in the game, which is actually the thing that I looked at and said, well, that's obviously what you want to do. You want to build an engine, you know, you want to be able to do more stuff. But I get greedy and want my victory points or whatever. And it's a big deal, you know? I mean, if you're getting 7 victory points per turn for a token that you put out there, or more, of course that requires a bunch of tokens, you know, there's only 5 turns in the game. About myself, I'm getting more enjoyment out of this than when I played it opposed. And that was just with my wife, you know, where things were kind of mellow, right? But it's still frustrating to have no fucking idea what you're supposed to do and what you're doing. And it increases in frustration when you're playing in an opposed situation for me. I think my enjoyment levels would improve if I play a game like this solo before I ever try to play it opposed. I just can't learn and understand a game in an opposed environment as well. And when there are significant barriers, as there are with this, to figuring it out, you certainly don't want to sit down and be playing with other people. The social aspects, etc., just detract from being able to focus on the game. That said, Age of Renaissance made perfect sense to me when I used to play it solo. And then every time I sit down and play it opposed, I get, you know, wiped all over the floor by almost every other player because I just do not get the game, right? I understand the mechanics. I have some idea of what I'm supposed to do. And I don't feel like it's terribly more advanced than I get just sitting down and playing opposed anyway. It may just be that this is quite simply not my kind of game. Like, because I'm not... Age of Renaissance, at least I get enjoyment out of playing it solo. This, I'm not getting any real enjoyment out of playing solo. I'm learning some things about the game, but I can't really imagine taking too much pleasure in implementing this in an opposed circumstance. You know, it's... Yes, I like aspects of it. I like the guesswork thing. I like the amount of competition there is in it for any given resource. But the resources are so obfuscated as to their value that I just feel like I'm playing with levers that don't really connect to anything. And seeing what comes out. It's like playing slots. Fucked up, and nobody was around to watch it, but because I'm doing less. But Baldur, I fired him off and took this because I'm like, oh, I'm on Baldur. No, I'm not. I forget what color I am. My Baldur piece is over there. That causes all kind of issues. I think instead I would have fired off the low key, which means I would get 2 green and not 1, and that fucks everyone else up. I got black instead of yellow, and I'm able to take a piece from anyone. I am going to take a piece from Freya, but that screws everybody else's turn up, and I don't know what the hell. Worse, we had a shifting of players within there, so I'm just gonna undo this because it was an illegal move and try to do something, but it's all fucked up, man. The problem here is I'm trying to do other things while I play. And that works fine with games that are intuitive, that have well-defined little stopping points. But here, I'm moving from player to player, trying to make decisions. And really, the whole turn is one set of decisions that's made, from the position of selecting the cards all the way up. Maybe not to the battles. Maybe the battles are kind of a separate thing. But for the most part, it's really hard to stop, to take little breaks, whatever. And that's a negative to... certainly to opposed or unopposed play, to playing solo, but it's also because I do like, you know, to be doing something while I'm playing. I don't necessarily you know, sometimes I'm playing while I'm waiting for something to finish or whatever. Which I should know better. It's been a while since I've played a Euro like this when I was doing other things, and it's just a shitty situation. But it reminds me of when I was gaming at the store, and the store clerk who was gaming with us would have to go away all the time. And we were usually playing Euros, and I can only imagine how horrible the situation is when you have to try to reassess everything in such an interactive, interleaved game. Jeez, man. Stupidity, right? Why are these white things kept off the board? Why aren't they put, like everyone else has, on the one god who actually can give you them? Yes, you might be able to get them other ways, but what the fuck? What is the decision making in that? Anyway, I'm buying this big one and trying to figure out where Thor's temple goes. Doing, well, not technically cheating, was not seeing something, not understanding the rules in a way that would have been helpful. So I was only placing these guys over the weapons chits that indicate that you could have a battle there. But the gods can be placed on any of the locations. And notably, I just placed Hell here, which actually makes this really unlikely. It went from a +3 to a -3, so yellow may have to throw forces in or do something else to help those people fight their battle, which is a tactic that I was not paying attention to before. Basically, I thought I could only play on top of the appropriate weapons space, maybe because of how I read the rules, I don't know. But when you look at temple, you place the topmost god in a world slot of your choice following these placement rules. The god must replace a population tile, a light one if a light god, a darkness if a dark. What I didn't think about was these are still light and dark, and it's not really well defined anywhere that I know of, even if they don't have the symbols for light and dark over them, whatever. But yeah, that makes this fight much, much more difficult. I'm going to need to swap batteries. And then we're up here. All of the players have done all of their actions except for that one last up there. Kind of an important factor about a game with no narrative, you know, right? When you're playing a game that has no narrative to it, basically, when the only narrative is what card did I play, what action did I do, what thoughts were going through my mind to accomplish something, when you can't point and say, look, you know, these worlds have been taken by this person, this has been done by this. When you can't come up with that story from the board position, then it's very, very hard to do the video as anything other than a play-by-play of what's going on. And I find that kind of disturbing. I find it disturbing also with card games. So I recently played a game that I thought was kind of cute. I'm trying to remember what it was. Call to Adventure or something like that. Where you're building a story out of the player cards. And theoretically there should be this great narrative, but the way that the cards lay out and everything, it doesn't really look that way anymore. It really ends up that you're optimizing your points throughout the game, just like you are here, even though some obvious attempt was made to try to create something that created a narrative that would be apparent as a tableau. Not quite enough effort was put into it to do that, and it ends up as an interesting set of mechanisms and a cute game, but just as difficult to talk about what's happening beyond people are doing things that are gamey, you know, which is what this is all about. The other side of things, once there's a god already to place, it makes it much, much easier to just go in there and almost guarantee yourself a win. So again, there's a lot of timing going on here. I think we just played out everybody. And what the hell does that mean? Well, we couldn't have. Why is this up there? I must not have played out Loki. I guess I get to go again. I don't know. Pretty sure I did play Loki because I have this white piece here. So I'm just turning him aside. I grabbed the tokens. I think I just didn't clean up after that. That means we'll be going to, I guess, the battles. And then the battles will be over and it won't be clear who won, right? You know, I mean, I can't even really, unless I'm focused in as the battle is proceeding, the story is gone. It's just destroyed. It turns into more board state, more points, whatever. It doesn't really express much. So the only thing I can talk about is what's the board state. And that'll be along the lines of, oh, look, there's some people who have taken more tokens than others, and they've got more battles won. And other people have more temples than others. And oh, look, there's the victory point track. That's all I can talk about with this game when I start trying to explain the narrative from the game state itself. Whatever narrative there is in the play of the game rather than in what it's representing and some kind of, you know, positioning. Or so there's not like this kind of area control that you see in, you know, your standard military games. There's not like route control like you see in the XX games. There's just nothing to point to and discuss. And that's one of the problems, one of the reasons why I have difficulty doing Euros on these vids. It's either focusing on the details of play and nothing else. And to me, the details of play are kind of boring. You know, they're the fun, right? In terms of like actually playing, making those decisions and everything is interesting. But where's the thing that comes out of that? Where's the story behind it all? And it's just not here on this. It's all about a quest for victory points. And while I'll discuss those things, you know, in other games, there's sort of a, I've got a lock on this and control of this. Well, here, what do I have? I don't know. I got some pieces that can be taken away from me. I just don't know. I've collected a lot of tokens. What does that mean? Extremely unbalanced random draw. Dark getting the advantage. And players only playing on the light side. Hey, when do you get the weapons tile? Do you get it when you place? Jeez. Yeah, I think you did. I gotta go back and give people weapons tiles. But a 2-point giant will get me the victory here, which is kind of cool. Yellow, on the other hand, I'm looking at 0 to 7. Well, my 2 points aren't going to help me there, so I will just take the extra disc. And now I'm back up to 3 actions, which is kind of cool, I guess. I mean, I could have just taken the disc instead of fighting the battle, but there's almost no reason to do that. You might as well fight a battle and lose and get yourself a weapons chit or something. Although those are running down, that doesn't matter because the resources, so you can take it from the person who has the most of them. Ooh, I think so. I'll have to look that up if I'm facing that. And now we do the scoring, right? Purple is at the lowest score because they only just got a temple. However, they have 3 of these, which lets me take a 9, which I put there. And I don't know, because these aren't resources. You're not allowed to take these from people. So I'm not sure about the weapons tiles, or I don't know. I'll have to look. And then red is next. Red, and one reason that you just put these here is so that you don't change the ordering and screw things up. But it does mean that there's a pile of hidden victory points on certain players that's not being tracked there, and the is an easy way to sandbag someone. Red is next. They only have one. There are none of those left. They can't have one. Which is a sign that I want to get, this into a temple, one of these into a temple, so I can pull this back. And then I start working on catching up there. When it's cheap, it's costing everybody else a lot of points to get their extra discs. It's not costing me anywhere near as many. Although with blue sitting there as well, it kind of doesn't help. Blue is in the same position. Yellow has only 2 because they lost a battle, so they get one of those. And as it goes on, these battles become less and less valuable because, red and blue, pretty soon the 2s are going to be wiped out too, and I would have to make a 2-point jump to get any victory points at all off of a token put there. However you want to look at that. Let me take a look at when you draw these things. You draw those things when you do a Ragnarok or an Asgard. The player immediately gains 1 wizardry or 1 weapon as indicated in the occupied slot. He takes the corresponding... Yeah, I don't know, because you're taking the stack and picking one. But somewhere or another, there's some kind of more general rule about something. Yeah, I don't know where the general rule is, if there is one, or if it's specific rules to, say, taking soldiers. It's certainly not in every place, though. Common supply. Enchanted stones, warriors, giants, seals, or skill tiles. Okay, what are these things? Well, we know what stones, warriors, giants, and seals are. What are skill tiles? Skill tiles... I thought are these. Oh, skill tiles, these guys. Yeah, there's just a couple of them on the board. Okay, so the ancient weapons or whatever they are not a part of this. And that means we're moving to the next turn. And we get Fenris Ulf. And we refresh these things. Yeah, it's important not to collect resources is really the issue. Like, you don't want to gather up too many, but you have to gather up a lot to get the high-valued temples, and the high-valued temples are probably your best thing. Anyway, I don't think we're going to do another turn under these circumstances. It's just too painful. On to the 4th round, and I think all the gods are out. There's only 5 rounds total. This die is here for some reason. I don't know why. It should be over with 1, but it doesn't really matter. It's time to do selections. I screwed something else out. Yellow had an opportunity to do something. Yeah, I don't know if this would have helped them, but they had a token out there. They put into the fight. Did I flip over? I don't know. Because I see 3 purples out there, so I think purple put out there as well. So either I skipped both people's grab, and I don't think there'd be any way to tell. Okay, the hell with that. If I did, I did. Alright. Blue somehow succeeded in getting themselves down below 2 of these, so they've got to withdraw 1. Sure, this could generate victory points. But by grabbing it back, I don't have much choice. I mean, otherwise I'm giving up a temple and the victory points that they generate each round, which I do not want to do. So, yeah. And we didn't generate any in the first round, so I think our points are good. So yeah, by getting that back, now I have 2 actions. I gotta be careful. I just tried to cheat or something with red. and took 3 actions when I only have 2 available. It's in an interesting position. What purple wants to do is, or what one of their opportunities would be, is to place both their discs up here to grab an expensive disc. They don't have any white or black. They're in a position where they can't really build a temple. If they build a temple, they're down to 1 disc. They have to withdraw something. That something may be something that generates points for them. But if I grab a disc, I can put that in battle, and that would continue with my sort of policy of increasing my battle score. So I'd be up to 4. I'd be grabbing a 14 this time. Might be the most valuable thing I can do, because I'm quite far from a temple. I would have to put a disc there and get a new disc, not necessarily for battle, in order to get things, which means I'd only have one other thing I could do. What is the advantage? Well, the advantage is that I don't have the price to pay for these. So I think that's what I'm going to go for. But I had to still think about, hey, you know, what are the possibilities here? Especially with Fenris available, which would allow me to collect a token if I grab that first. And if I don't, I can just put up an Asgard anyway. Actually applies to Mimir, where I can get a couple of tokens, which, if things start falling out, might be good. But right now, the cost of getting tokens is just so high. But I can get that first fire off and possibly trigger things there if I get into the right location. If I don't get into the right location, I just go up there and say the hell with it. This guy is going to swap to grab the 1 token. He wants to go first. Scrooge, kind of unintentional. Over here, I don't know what the hell's up with him, but he ended up not being able to get anything valuable. Now, what the hell did he place? He placed in Freya, which was necessary to get a soldier, but Thor was too late. Red had already placed. And Red really should be using their double play, but they did not, so they're going to lose it. They wanted to use it, but they did not. Over here, his goal was to build a Loki. No, to build a... Honestly, I don't know what his goal was. It wasn't what it looked like. He wanted to build this, maybe, and get a temple out somewhere, and it was turning out that he would have had to build this crappy temple, and he chose not to, and I don't know what's going on now, because now he's going up there, which will be to generate a battle, I guess, or just get a token. You can get a cheap token. But yeah, this was not a wise play. And we're over here where I reveal and get my second, hey, let me ooze into another place position. Has that cleared everybody's cards out? I think it has. So now we go back to the first player again. It's not. There's still another one here, Loki. And now I got to try to figure out, do I have enough to get Loki on the board? I'm going to get troops from that. Thor is going to give me blues. So I will have blues and pinks. 2 blues, 2 pinks. Loki, if I put him on the temple, I don't have any special capacities available right now. If I put him on the temple, I could build this. I don't think anybody's going to get that, so I will do that, because that gets me a black token as well. And now we're on 1. And what do? Well, I want to fire Thor off first. Grab 2 blue. Of course, this puts me in the lead. And I grab this. Then I fire that off. And I spend Freya because why? Because I will be able to get Loki as well. So I get this token. Freya will give me a token. 2 of these. And the soldiers that I need to be able to build Loki. And that puts me over to player 2, which, if I find my die, it's over here. I can keep track of what's going on. Dashed all the tokens in. He did not take his advantage. What does he want? Does he want to swap something? Blue, green. I mean, they're both kind of good. I could see pulling for a red or a second green, but this is better, and I'm set up for it. But if I have 2 green, I'm set up to just grab a red and do something else. Is there anyone I'd like to put on the board? Right now, only Fenris is at all powerful out of all the gods. And there's going to be a competition over getting in that space, and I'm in the 4th place and not likely to be able to change that easily. On the other hand, I could do the same thing and keep putting battles out. So, what am I thinking? Oh, which of these I want to do, whether I want to do the swap or not. And I kind of don't want to do the swap. So I'll fire this off, I guess. I don't know what that means in the end. I think they all get swept anyway, but I'm not sure. So, let us take a look at what happens in the battle. There is only one battle. And again, this is hard to see because one side and the other side. It's just tough for me. Why am I putting that there? I don't know. Because I like battles. And getting these doesn't necessarily help. What's nice about these is that they're kind of one-time. You can't do a battle on them, but when the god goes in there, they just get you score. So you could put a shitty god in there and get 5 victory points for it, which is a possibility for everyone. So, is that what I want to do? No, because I want to get a good temple anyway. So the blue-green, let's leave it set. I can always Asgard on another turn. Okay, so first thing we do is we count the temple points. And that is, go in order there, 7 for purple, put them at 14, 12 for red. 11 for yellow. And remember, these may not reflect the current victory point situation very well, because we get this stack here, for example. Purple's in last place, which gives them certain benefits. And over here, 9 for blue. But they're pretty far in last. They're the only ones with 1 temple. They got a good one, though. Okay, that gets us to the battle. We flip these suckers over. Light is at +2, but we got a god versus not a god, which means we get a victory. I don't think we... Oh, we should have gotten a wizardry for placing there. Cancel the god or double the troops. What gods am I involved in? That's a good question. Where is purple? Purple is over here. There's lots of troops. I'll take the double the troops. I don't know, because that helps red as well. But Thor is involved in a lot of fights too. I don't know if anybody else is That involve Loki is as well. Okay. I should have taken that earlier. I never remember to do so. And we did not have to use any tiles. So we go to the end of the round or the beginning of the round, depending on how you look at things. And we refresh the seals. I have to make sure I'm doing this right because there's something that's going to be fucked up here, if I recall correctly. Okay, first of all, whoever has the most dark seals just lost one. That's 2 over here. Okay. Pick the face down tiles of the Asgard tiles off the board. Yeah. So these 2 come off, these 2 come back and are flipped up. And so we kind of did something and made Asgard more wealthy, which we may want. But this is the 5th round. Discs aren't going to matter very shortly. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to count battle points for everyone. Okay, so who's the weakest purple is? They're at 4, so they get a big 14 point. And 5 looks like it's the most you can get unless you can sleaze into a battle somehow. No, you could buy multiple attacks. So that's purple. Next in order is blue. Blue has 0. Red has 1, which doesn't help them. They're going to be getting that piece back. They figured out how to do that. And yellow has 2, which means they're still sleazing at 5 points for each one. So that's kind of cool. Now, we go back to the beginning. A player cannot have fewer than 2 discs. We got 3 discs over on blue, 2 on each of these, but only 1 here, so I get to withdraw this disc, which is kind of a bonus. But now it doesn't really help me to get discs from here, right? I'm not going to get additional play off those discs. And that means we're back at choosing gods with player 1 over here. And we'll break for a while. All right, cards are all picked. People have limited number of options. So like this guy still has 2. He's kind of torn between building a temple, which would be worth 5 points, and 6 points for winning a battle, right? Well, what's the difference? The god that I put down from building the temple might generate me some more points. So like, it's not just the 5 points for the temple and the 6 points for winning a battle. Especially since I have capabilities that make it especially interesting for me to make certain, to make certain gods score well. I've got these magical capabilities that I picked up that give me 10 extra points for each of them. But if I can't make them work, and it'll take at least 2 gods that I have to go in for, and I may have chosen stupidly. I chose Freya. I do not want Freya because I want to be in 2nd place on a god. Now Fenrir allows me to slip into other ones, which is why I took him, but I'm going to take Hel because there's no way I can get 2nd place in Freya, and I've got 1st place over here on Thor. What did I do? That was Freya. Everybody else is just building temples as much as they can, but of course there's the competition of, are you going to be the person who, manages to get the timing right and use your tiles right and everything? Does something get stolen from you? There's a lot of that in the game. And on this round, you got to make everything count this round. That's the problem. And collecting these tokens probably doesn't matter, right? All I have is 1 black. I'm not going to be able to collect tokens to be able to do anything over there, but with 2 of these, I could throw a battle in and get my 6 points. That's a worst case scenario, but I'm going last, so worst case may be what I face. The one thing that's good, I have the tokens already available, so I don't think anybody else has that particular set, so I should be able to trigger that temple. Seeing how I was following this player up here's choices, you know, I set myself up so that I had a lot of options, right? I still have Hell, and I can go in there. The Fenrir counter is less likely to be effective to me, but because, oh, they took that one. Do I want the capability to place into any temple location? That I could, which means if that's filled up, I'm screwed. See, Hell is the most valuable to me, so I'm actually going to place that. I can always just put up here. Not that there's much I can do with it. But yeah, I want Hell more than I want Fenrir. Okay. 5th phase, and this is somewhat disconcerting. Or at least unappealing to me. Players are finding themselves with placements that can't do them any good. You've always, before this, been able to throw things in Asgard. And for example, here the Fenrir, I could have put it here, which could have gotten me this, but that's not useful, right? Or I could go to Asgard where I can not fight a battle because I'm not going to have enough of those tokens. It's going to take me... So if red were fighting a battle, maybe less, but 2 whites and 2 blacks to get anything, or 2 tokens. And I'm not going to be able to get another token there. I'm using my other token to get me my temple that I want to grab. Like I said, I had the base choice. Do I want the 6 points, which isn't much more than the 5 that I could get from just dropping the god in there automatically? Or do I want the bonuses of the god giving me, you know, the tiles that I have work better with a god? So yeah, I want to use the god. So purple's put a piece up here. Blue has a piece to put. Fenrir and Loki are going to get me what I want. I'm going to put this over in Baldur because maybe the temples will get shuffled in such a way that I need that extra yellow piece. But there's really almost nothing I can do here. Fenrir does not actually require a recruit. So since I'm going for a Fenrir temple, I don't have a problem with that. And I mean, I can't see any other issue except that the temples are taken away from me. If I went up here, I could grab recruits. Those aren't, I mean, they may be helpful, right? That's the one thing. Going up here is useful for getting more troops for the final battle. How certain do I feel? I feel pretty certain. I'm going in there. But yeah, I mean, there are possibly situations where there's nothing for you to fucking gain by placing one of your pieces. Now, luckily, most people only have 2 of them, so that's not really a big issue. And now we go back to selection. Realizing I didn't need Odin, I had this, I could have exchanged and just fired the god that I want off. And unfortunately for me, there is no god that I want, but if I wait, Fenrir might be available and I can place him. So, I guess I'll... So the question is whether or not I want this. There's no real reason for me to take that. Again, so I'll fire that off. I get my white token, which is why I went there, but I didn't need it. And now I get to reorder everybody. And that could screw a lot of people up. I don't trust purple. Purple's got a pile of these. I don't really want to move them to earlier. And honestly, blue and red, I'm not gonna mess with the order at all. So I'm giving up that option from Odin over there. And that'll put me up there. Now for him, he needs to fire off his Loki. He wants to do it first, I guess, because he gets to steal a troop by doing that. Gets his 2 green. Gets this token for whatever it's worth. I'm going to actually be generating a token. And I could win a battle, but there's no value to that. And I am allowed to steal a soldier from someone. Now, I don't want to steal it from someone that I already have, right? Like, I'm committed to... What is it? It's going to be Fenrir, who doesn't necessarily get soldiers easily. And where else am I? I'm over at Hell. I think Thor's got a lot of these, so I'm going to steal one from Thor. Well, I had to take a god. I'll take a giant. I'll take it from Loki. Loki steals from himself. All right. Well, we'll just keep going since we're going in detail here. What's up here? Well, I want to get Freya. I've got a red and a green. I got an Asgard. I could switch something, but that doesn't really help me. I could get one of these tokens. That doesn't really help me. So it looks to me like I need those greens. Which means I, too, fire off Loki. I am Odin green. Well, poor blue has just lost their green. Now, luckily, I have an Asgard token. When am I allowed to play this? At any time during your turn. So I can't trump in and right now swap one of these reds out for a green, which I would like to do. Because, well, I can always do it. There will always be tokens available. They just might be in somebody else's hands. So red got theirs fired off. I don't see any special capabilities. The important one is here that I'd want to fire. I could grab troops. I hope those troops don't come from Asgard. They can't come from Asgard. Where do we find them? Oh, they're not spelled out here, are they? No. Yeah, they come from the stock. She's the only one who can only take from Asgard, if I recall correctly. Which is problematic, because there isn't much dead there. Nobody's been using them in battle, that's why. So that's her. We come over here. And I played Fenrir up there, so that's not terribly useful. Hell is over there. I want to grab my thing before there's a problem. She wants a white. Grab this. I get to put her somewhere. I do not want to put it for the 5 points. I would have been better off getting the 6 if that was the case. So where does she want to go? This is probably my best token out there. It gives me a weapon, I think. Takes the weapon tile stack, yeah. Because, like, auto victory doesn't mean shit. Getting another one of these isn't going to be enough. I would need, like, 2 more. Oh, wait. I just grabbed one. Hold on. Maybe it is enough. Oh, where did she just go? I think there. I don't know where I took it from. I don't know what's going on. That doesn't feel right. I think it must have been. Yeah, it wasn't. She did not have a 3. Okay. What if I took another token? I would have white, black. I'm short a white. I don't have a way of getting it, do I? Yeah. Because if I could get another token, I could fight a battle and score that point. That's 6 points that I'd love to get. Well, what if I got this? So I've got 2 blacks. I need 2 whites. That's the problem. And I don't have a way to generate another white. I just don't. All right. I'm going to fire this off right away. Grab myself the best weapon there is. And I grabbed her token. There's got to be more going on here. I don't know what it is. I flipped these. This is the important one. This one doesn't really matter because she's full up, and that's not going to go away. That got me over to 4. Now we come back around, Fenrir. Now I got a hard choice. I played Odin out, and I am set up with tons of stuff to get me a 7-point thing, but I got to find me who I want to play. And there are no 2.1s. I can't play here because I'm already there. Fenrir is not clear yet, and I can't delay. I don't have any more tokens. I would have liked to have delayed one. I thought there was another 2-point. Yeah, there's Freya. She's in use. So this just becomes a question of what the hell I want to put down. Let me think. Tough. She's easy to beat. That's an advantage. So I could conceivably put Odin or Baldur, not Baldur, Tyr or Baldur into play with the thinking of, well, I got a better chance against her than anyone else, and I'm alone with that god. Nobody else is going to be in on that god. Obviously, I can't do him, but I could do him. Or Odin. On the other hand, are there any tiles I want? Well, this is actually probably the best tile I could get because I'd get additional troops. So then the question is, well, what are those additional troops? And that comes to, this is not bad. That can get me 3 points towards battle. So if I'm adding 3 plus 1 is 4, I'm 2 behind. Here, I would get something that's useless, but I am 2 behind again. And I have the doubling of troops. So I think, well, I think I'm going to go for good no matter what. Because I don't see a place where I want to put into evil or darkness. Here I'm still 2 behind, here I'm still 2 behind, and I don't get anything out of those tokens. So I'm going to move Fenrir to someone I can create. Let's make it Odin. I already played my Odin. I took my token. I don't know what's going on. I get my Fenrir token for whatever that's worth. I mean, it denies it to Blue, who could actually have used it, maybe. And that's that. Speaking of Blue. Blue has the Fenrir token does not have the capability to build this. But I do. I exchange a red for a green. There's no greens there. One person has greens. Good thing they don't need too many. That got me that. Now I get to place Fenrir. Don't get that. Where does Fenrir want to go? Well, since I'm alone with Fenrir, he wants to go wherever it's easiest. This token could conceivably do me some good. I don't want to just grab victory points. That's not terribly valuable. So I'll grab this. Do I need a black or a white? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with a whole fistful of tokens, but I might actually be able to score some points if I can win a battle. If I can win a few battles. Because there is still a battle phase, and I'm going to be getting a whole bunch of tokens to play if I do things, if I understand what's going on here. So I have exchanged these for this. And Fenrir went up, and I got my token, and I feel like there's something else other than just flipping these that I need to do, but I can't think of it. Yeah, there's no surprise there. We know what Fenrir said. And now different things have become valuable. Her position is thrown into real question. Luckily, I have one of these. So I can make an exchange. That was player 2. Player 3, Freya. I want to make Freya workable. Well, I got some problem. I need tiles. I have 2 green and a red. Yeah, that's not going to work very well. All I can do is this one. You do what you can. That'll cost me a white troop. I get Freya, and I grab this for 2 green. I want to use this now that I sent my troops up. I will take 1 giant and 2 whites, because the whites, there's more of them available, so I'm less likely to lose them. Where do I put Freya? This gets me a magic token. Oh, we just did this. This gets me a magic token, so unless I want to grab more troops, I'll grab more troops. Right? I'm not alone on Freya. I'll spend this. I'll take more troops. It's only 2 points. The magic token's probably better. Yeah, you know what? Screw that. Freya was here. I want the magic token. I'm going to expend the magic token immediately. I grab me a Cancel a God. And I am done. I am down to 1 of these. I'd be getting another one back. Puts me up here. I've got a Fenrir token. That doesn't help me. I've got up there. I don't need to exchange colors, so I will take the 1 of each as my thing. What else happens here? I could expend. Well, let's not forget there's this. I have 2 blacks. I will turn them in. Hey, we're almost out of those. and get me some soldiers. This I can't play as a battle. I'd have to create new ones to play battle. And we are done. Oh, that puts me back to 1. Let me think a little. Flip overs to do. Don't think they matter. And the one remaining thing we have is this. And now he has kind of gotten screwed out of useful stuff. So I have a white, a black. That gets me 1. A white. No, I'd have to start spending over. So I can fight in 1 battle, conceivably. That doesn't do me shit. I could exchange a stone. That doesn't do me shit. I can guarantee winning a battle, but again, I'm not on the board. So I'm just going to scoop these up. I eat this. And basically nothing happens because... Oh, wait. I'm able to buy that. I spent a white and a black. I'll spend this. I get an extra soldier. That's all I get out of it. All right. We would fight battles, but there are none. So we're at Ragnarok. Each player reveals... Oh, we would score battles, but we're not done. Topmost tile of the ancient battles gets turned up. That lets us know that we're done with the game. Temple points. People get their temple points. Okay, purple gets 11. Red gets 15. 38. Yellow only got 11. Didn't produce a temple? Thought I put the Fenrir down. Must have just grabbed it. Must have been way behind. Why am I so far up then? Yeah, I don't know where. Like yellow's only got 2 of these, yet has lots of points. Oh, I forgot to exchange. That's what happened. White, blue, yellow, pink. There's so many mechanical actions that I forget. So that's 7 more for yellow. And that makes more sense. Oh, we forgot to flip this. Yeah, I placed Fenrir, but I didn't place the extra temple. So the only person with 2 is the guy who went all out on battles. And finally to blue, 14 points for blue. Puts them to 36. And there we see how well the temples have worked. Now, we go through the battles. There weren't any. And we look to see about battle points, starting with purple, who has 1, 2, 3, 4 1 battles. So they get this. Next up is blue, who has none. Red, who has none. Yellow has 2 and is still able to eke out points. And they're kind of dangerous. They have the most victory points from the temples and probably the second most from the battles. They've done very well. Okay, now we go to Ragnarok. Now the battle points are turned up and just scored. 8, 17, 31, looks like 45 points for purple. That's going to put them up to 70. Red. I guess this is reds. Red scored 6. Yellow. Yellow scored 20. And blue scored a mighty 3. And you can see battles is a viable strategy. You know, you want to make sure you have some gods on the board, though, because there's a lot of points on gods. Okay. Now the next thing we do is we divide the ancient weapons into 2 stacks, shuffling them. These don't matter. I can get rid of them. Nobody scored them. They wouldn't matter anyway. The gods would be removed from them. All right, so let's shuffle those 2 and I'll be back. Each god, we're going to want to move discs to represent those gods for the player. So I'm not going to just take the discs from here because there are plenty of extra discs lying around. So for Freya, she is blue and red. And I'm just going to take this because it doesn't matter. So there's Freya. Baldur, not supported, but he's not up there. Odin, why didn't I end up on the board with Odin? Fuck. I moved there. I didn't get to move again because I turned my card sideways, letting me know I'm done with all my plays. He had another play. I don't think it matters too much. This was what was happening here. I did not play this. That's what went wrong. Okay, I got a problem. I need to give up a white soldier to Odin. I get Odin. I get this token which I placed on the board, which I hadn't placed. That explains what's going on there. I wasn't going to win any I'm not going to win a battle. I don't need a counter. There's nothing there. So let's just look for the weakest thing. It's not the humans. They're tough. Hell's in a couple of battles. I'll replace her instead, because, or I'll fight her instead. It's also a more valuable space than the Fenris space. Should really be paying attention to the number of points those spaces have. I'm more concerned with what are the goodies I get, when the goodies maybe don't matter much. Of course, if you can't win the battles, and the goodies might help you win the battles, then that's a problem. All right, so we were working our way down to Odin. Odin is only yellow. Tyr is not played. Thor. Thor is purple and red. And we have a couple of Thors on the board. Like I said, you will generally not have 3. The rules don't even seem to admit the possibility, but it is possible as far as I can see. Let's go next. Fenris is blue. There's only one of him on the board, of course. No certs. We've got one of these Hymes or whatever on the board. Hell. Hell is blue and purple. And there's a lot of her on the board. Could probably remove those battle discs. They're not going to matter. They're kind of confusing things. Maybe they're a tiebreaker or something. That's my worry. I'll leave them where they are. Okay. And Loki is red and yellow. And there's a lot of Loki on the board. Okay. So there we have all the allegiances to the gods played out. Population tiles. If there are 2 population tiles on the world, just remove them. This world will not be fought. It is not part of Ragnarok. If there's 1 population and a god, place an ancient weapon under the population. And we work in descending order. Well, there's only 1 population. They get an ancient weapon. We don't know what it is yet. Recruits. Take the recruits on each god and place them beside the relevant god tile on Yggdrasil, if any. If the god has 2 tiles, divide them into 2 groups of the same strength if possible. If the strengths aren't equal, the lower number goes to the stronger group. Right. So, Freya. There should be 2 Freyas. Each of them has a soldier. Odin gets his soldier. Baldur doesn't matter. Thor. Thor gets 2 soldiers on each side. Heimdall gets a giant. Hey, first giant we've had. That's not Heimdall. I don't remember what his name is. Hel. So Hel has 2. The weaker one gets the extra dude. And then Loki also has 2, where the weaker one gets the giant. And there we go. In turn order, players that support 1 or more light gods take a warrior from Valhalla. There are no warriors left in Valhalla. The darkness gods get nothing. Weapon and wizardry. In turn order, each player places 1 weapon or wizardry taken from their own supply face down under a god of their choice, if they have a disc. All right. Well, for this, we need to look at the wizardry chart to see what we've got. So here it's cancel a god, and here it's double the troops under that god. We're allowed to associate our own troops at some point. God damn it. I thought we're allowed to throw our own troops in. Take all the recruits on each god. I guess not. I thought the troops that we associated for ourselves meant something, so I was collecting them up. If you don't associate them with a god to begin with, they're useless, and pulling them out of Valhalla, all that does is make the darkness gods stronger. Oh well. Alright. Yeah, I thought we were able to commit our own forces. Kind of wish I had known that, and I feel like I got screwed. I feel like I made bad decisions based on that, but I don't want to cheat, even though I don't know. Yeah. So I have a couple of things. I can double, I can cancel a god, and I have a big weapon. What do I want to place? Well, I am yellow, so I look around. What does yellow have? Yellow is alone. Let me make sure there's not a tiebreaker here, so I can get that shit off the board that I don't want. Yeah, there is no tiebreaker, so let me get this shit off the board. Okay. And isn't it great when the scoring of a game is this complicated? I mean, it kind of is. It obfuscates who the winner is for a large portion of the game. You don't know how well you're doing. There are advantages to that. But with more and more plays, you start being able to read the board better. I mean, I don't know. You can look at it the same way you can look at like a World War II grand strategic, where there's knowledge that's useful. Now, if at least there you're using historical knowledge, you know, hey, did France not fall? That might be a sign that there's a problem for Germany, you know, as opposed to if you're playing something like, I don't know what, like Scandinavia or Dragon Pass or something, where it's not absolutely clear and you need to play through the game several times to kind of understand who's winning and what they're doing. Well, with this game, it's got that kind of blur, and there's no knowledge. It's only an advantage to someone who's seen the game played several times, which, you know, that's fine, you know, like chess. Or Go. You might look at a chess or Go board and say, well, so-and-so's won, you know, especially with a Go board. When it's not obvious to a newbie. Well, that may be the case with this game too. I don't necessarily view that in either light. So where the hell are we? The weapon and wizardry. I got to try to figure out where the fuck I want to put. So I look at my yellows. These are the only places I can put it. Well, I'm going to put this one under here. And now I got to remember all this because it impacts my other choices. But like, now I'm going through other players, and that's a solo problem more than anything else. So over here, at least I don't have much. I have a big pile of points for blue. Blue is invested in a lot of gods, and they're top rank on a lot of gods. But their best god is Fenris. And I am going to put my weapon with Fenris. Should Fenris be able to use a weapon? No. It won't fit in his mouth. It's his collar of power. Okay. And I'm going to flip this over because I am out of... Oh, that doesn't help. I'm out of things that can help me. That puts me over to 3. 3 has a couple of things. I can cancel a god, and I got a whole lot of power. So, I look to see where red is playing, and red is playing in 2 places, both aligned with yellow on Loki. Oh no, they're also playing in the blue world. This is tough. My biggest bonus comes off Loki. I'm going to throw this in here. Fuck. Okay, putting tokens on top of things you gotta move around is not great. But my biggest bonus comes off Loki. I'll put the strength in there. I'll put the cancellation in there, I guess. If that makes sense. Over here, oh boy, this guy's got tons. Tons. And he's not involved in much. All he's got is Thor, right? He should be in hell, too. Okay, he's invested in hell as well. I would like to win with hell. So I'm going to put this magic chip here. Now, everybody probably knows what I'm doing there. If I'm putting a magic chip under a second place thing as my first thing, and they know which chip I took, probably, because I took the first 2, it's pretty fucking obvious. Yellow. Yellow can do something. Does that cancel a weapon? The highest value weapon, ancient weapon tile placed on the opponent does not count. That could be useful. Yellow. I don't remember what I put, but I'm the one who put it here. I doubled his troop. Okay. My other yellow, I'll put here. Two is done. Three has a magic, can cancel out a god. I am red. I have Loki. I'm going to cancel out Thor here. Now it's possible you could be on both sides of a battle. Guaranteed to get some points, but you know, whatever. And they are done as well. Let me do something to mark done. That puts me over to the big boy. I got tons of things. Purple. I would like to win this. How do I win it? I don't know. I'll put this here. I want to see everything played out before I play my other one. And I probably should have for Hell as well. That puts me here. I can cancel out the best weapon. Well, I don't care about a lot of places. I care about two things. Blue and red are out of pieces. Purple's involved in this. I'm going to put the magic here. We want to win that. We're worried. We play right into their hands. There are no more other player pieces out there, so I have others to put down. Do I want to just count on my doubling of troops versus magic? No. I'm going to throw both my others under here. Oh, geez, but I lose this. Hold on, hold on. Here's the thing. I think I can guarantee winning this if I put them here. Oh, no, I win this. I win this, right? I got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can guarantee a win here as far as I'm concerned. And with that 10 extra points, that's worth it. I think. Who knows? Okay, now it's time to score. We check each world one at a time in ascending order, starting with 1 here. What the hell? Oh. So we got a strength of 5 here. And here, we have a strength of 8. The people are destroyed. Only blue is there, so blue gets 9 points. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to kill those people. All right, what about here? Well, nobody played here. So I've got 3. I'm almost assuredly defeated by this. Yellow defeats Freya. It's only yellow there. So yellow will get 12 points. 3, no battle. 4. Yellow's got Odin. Cancels out a weapon, is worth a total of 6. Is worth a total of 7. Odin's defeated. And this is worth 10 points to blue but it's worth 17 points to purple because I put that number 2 in there. So you can see, you know, where a player, where players both have an investment in something, they both want it to kind of happen, but maybe one wants it to happen more. In this case, purple wanted it more. Blue wasn't obvious, wasn't, you know, certain about that because they're in the first place. Okay, and now we go here. We have a big Thor. I think purple wins because I don't see any more yellows. A big Thor at 6, 7, 8 to 2, 3, 4, 5. Hell is defeated. This is worth 21 to purple, which puts them up to 108. Purple that. And red gets 8. Hey, I'm on the board. Coming up here, so Thor is worth 1, 2, 4, 8, but not. He's worth 1, 2, 4. Loki is worth 4, 5. Loki defeats Thor here. And generates, oh, red was on both sides there, and on here, wow, and generates 12 points for red, 64, and 10 for yellow, 85. And I mean, this is kind of an exciting thing to watch. I do enjoy these kind of shootouts at the end, right? Well, it looks like Loki should win this. Yep, there goes Freya. Okay, so Loki produces 13 for red, 77, and 11 for yellow, 96. Definitely saw that gathering up battle points is not a bad plan. You know, with only 11 points in these, grabbing the battle points allowed me to grab useful chits for the Ragnarok situation. It allowed me to get a whole bunch of victory points. If I had only done these, that would have sucked because I needed the gods to be able to score those extra points, especially since I pulled that extra 20 points. Take that away from me and I'm not in first anymore. Who's in first? Another person with a more balanced strategy. Somebody else who picked up some of those but also got themselves temples. And this is an important factor. If you run just on temples, you don't get that many more temples than someone, you know. This guy picked up a few battles and also got the temple. So I think kind of a mixed approach is necessary. It's just how much you want to vary between those approaches. Now, obviously, grabbing the 2 best Wizardry tiles that are worth those 20 points was a huge, huge bonus. But And that's kind of the bonus of fighting the battles. If you fight the early battles, you get to grab yourself some nice chits. And if you fight later battles, you're not going to get those chits. You might get better stuff. Something allows you to grab weapons. Some of these, some of the temples, or him, right? No, him. Allows you to grab particular oh, he doesn't do what I thought he did. I'm just realizing it. Yeah, he flips the tile and gets to take advantage of it. But anyway, there's a big mix of different choices here. I find that choice befuddling. I feel like I'm playing something where I've got no idea what I'm doing the first time I'm playing it. In the sense of, I can't even construct a very rational path to victory. I mean, I can say things like, well, maybe I want to collect these points, or maybe I want to collect these points, or maybe I want to build up this stuff. But it's all kind of guesswork, right? You have to play this a few times to get an idea of how to refine your strategy and make any sense out of it. Optimal strategies probably shouldn't be visible in the first play of a game, but viable ones should be fairly, and most importantly, not just viable strategies. Viable strategies should be fairly clear and easy to see, and I think there are some. I can collect up battle points, I can collect up temple points, these will get me points. I can try to get those endgame points. But ineffectual strategies should largely be able to be spotted as, this is garbage and I will suffer the entire game, right? Now, that may not be the case. Those might actually be like hidden bonus strategies, but you kind of got to know what you're doing to play them. Anyway, I find the burden for a game like this to be too high. If it was, I don't mind that kind of burden of trying to figure out a game if it's significant enough of a game, right? Or if it's a tiny enough game. But this is, for me, a couple hours, I guess, is what they say. Yeah, they say 2 hours. Probably longer your first play. You're going to waste that time. And it's not like, oh, let's start over, I didn't understand. You basically have to get about an hour into the game, halfway through, to realize I screwed up completely and other people are doing fine, so you're not going to ask that kind of thing. And it's not a big enough game to be worth the investment, right? I mean, it's neither, I don't know. It's about the same length as Go, but Go is simple and doesn't try to obfuscate anything. It's just I don't know where to put things. It's the rules and scoring are very, very trivial. It's trying to reach that level. Let me swap. Reach that level of obfuscation, of optimal or decent tactics and whatnot, through just layers and layers of different things where it's not clear, it's not easy to see what they all mean, right? There's no direct goal that's in front of you that makes sense. And, I can understand that. But geez, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for that level of depth or whatever, go play Go. It's got more, I can almost assure you, and it's not this mess to learn. Instead, the modern Euro player kind of browses from game to game. They may, I don't think you can I think you've got 5 or 6 plays in this before you can kind of feel like you're comfortable and relatively competent. But I think the modern Eurogamer kind of looks at it and says, well, let me get those 5 or 6 games and then we're done. We've played it, or they play it once or twice and move on. Well, this clearly is not one you want to play once or twice to move on, and it's also probably more depth than the 5 to 6 plays. It really is. I think there's a lot of room here. There's just so much piled up there that it makes it kind of you know, it's a certain design strategy, and it's the opposite of what I used to think. Like, my idea with Euros was clean design strategy, right? Let's make a really, really clean game that players can sit down and play easily. And the modern Euro has taken that away and has gone to, let's make a really messy design strategy, but let's not make it based on anything. Like, let's make it completely about the mechanisms of play. Theme is just that. It's theme. It's something that you are playing these mechanisms within the coloring of, and that's it. You know, so that you can say, I am Thor, rather than, you know, so that you can think about the things that actually motivated Thor. One hammer. I don't know. Anyway, I'm wasting way too much time on this. I should be talking, you know, my rap is supposed to be about what could have been done differently in the play. But honestly, this is too hard a game to grasp in one play to be able to give much insightful analysis. The only thing I can tell you is there are very clearly different ways to approach this. And my guess is that, like many of these types of games, the person who does what the other people didn't is going to come out ahead, right? So if you focus on battles, you're able to get a high score on battles throughout the game. If you focus on getting high value temples, you're able to get a lot of points from that, in addition to maybe getting some gods on the board, maybe throwing a couple battle points out. If you focus on getting lots of cheap temples out, you can get a lot of gods on the board, and you're going to score some of them. You know, in addition, you get your points from your temples. But you're probably not going to be able to pull more than, well, you're almost certainly not going to be able to pull more than like 5 temples over the course of the game. And I'd even say that's unlikely. So this 3 temples is pretty hard, is pretty good. And you can see 2 7s and a 4, that's probably about as good as you can do. Might be able to pull a little bit more. Anyway, let's send this up before I waste more of our time. Nothing to do with the game. Every now and then my wife's toilet or something in her bathroom runs water. I'm assuming it's the toilet tank slowly draining and refilling. But boy, you know, sometimes, the first time I heard it, it spooked me, and being down here, it was really spooky. I had to, while I was swapping batteries before, I had to run and go see, is there a ghost in here? You know, I mean, I know what it is, but it is kind of creepy all the same. Anyway, just a fun factor in my life.